Good morning, everyone. This is Erica with Aurora Heart Healing, and I am here again to help you process more emotions. If anyone knows, we are in the full moon season, full moon eclipse. There is a lot of turbulence going on. All I'm seeing when I'm on my TikTok feed or on my YouTube feed is how restless and how much the energy is shifting and changing right now. I know for me, for one, there has been massive shifts in my life. Some were unexpectedly really positive. And I don't know about you, but when I go through the dark nights of the soul, sometimes it can be really hard in the beginning, but because I have learned how to be very hopeful, which in all honesty, a lot of it has to do with the energy work that I've done in my life throughout my transformation from child to now. And because of that, I've been able to really keep a sense of deep hope within me. And I hope that anyone and everyone that is watching this can also resonate with you may go through a very turbulent time where things are rough. You don't know why things are happening, but you can still see the light at the end of the tunnel. One of the things that I've noticed in my life since this divorce separation thing that's happened, I am receiving so many blessings in my life. I remember at one point I was crying and I was upset and I was like, who's going to get me flowers? And within a few days, my really good friend came over and she gave me flowers. And like within 2 days, a client of mine that has been super loyal and just super stable with me gave me flowers too. And it's been, I want to say like 3 weeks, and those flowers are still alive and flourishing. And it's so interesting to see how beautiful and vibrant they are. And they're not dead. And they just keep reminding me to look at how beautiful the universe puts what exactly we need, not what we want, what we think we want, what we're attached to, but what we need in our path. And one of the things that I was needing is a massive shift and an upheaval to release all the negative within my life. And it came at an unexpected expense, but peace was so much more valuable. So I want you to just know that through this season, you may be experiencing some difficulties, some loss, some frustrations, and lean into those feelings. Allow yourself to process them, allow yourself to heal them, and really truly understand them. Because a lot of people, they just go ignore and they fall into the same exact patterns over and over and over again. And it's like they put their hand on the same stove that keeps burning them. And when you're going through these dark nights of the soul, your recognition of what your pattern is painfully in your face. And you can either choose to ignore it and say, I'm just going to keep doing this because this is what I want. Or you can say, okay, universe, I'm giving my power up to you. I'm going to do what you need me to do. Because our wants and what our needs are very different. And sometimes it can be hard to differentiate. With that being said, today I am going to be helping you process some of these deep emotions that are coming through with this full moon eclipse season. This whole time frame is a lot about change and upheaval and movement. So, first emotion, I actually looked for these emotions so that you wouldn't have to watch me searching. And today, the first emotion is dread. dread, to fear greatly, to be very reluctant to do, meet, or experience, terror or apprehension as to something in the future, or irreverent fear. I had to look up irreverent because it's almost like a respectful fear. We can be respectfully fearful of something, but there's also the being very reluctant to do something, to meet someone new, to experience something different, terrified or apprehensive. For me, when I think of dread, there are certain things that I think of when I think of dread in the way that it shows up in my life. Um, Over the past few years, there's been certain things like I dreaded to share my excitements or my fun experiences because I knew that there was certain people that would be upset that me and my children were experiencing joy. And that was a deep dread in me. And just last week, my girls and we went out and we just had so much fun. We went and we were just joyful and we had so much fun and had a great experience together. And when we were doing that, it was really interesting because I was like, hey guys, like, are you guys going to go and share with your friends what you did and what we did this weekend? And they were like, I'm worried because it's going to be an issue. Someone's going to get mad about that. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. That moment of dread about showing our fun, our lightness, our experiences, sharing those was becoming a dreadful experience because every time we shared, there was some type of repercussion for our joy. That is just not the way that anyone should live. And there was a reluctance to change, but now there's also this huge acceptance of these new experiences because now I feel, and in my home, we feel like we can enjoy ourselves, have fun, and not have to walk on eggshells with the is this okay that we're having fun? Is it going to hurt someone's feelings because we're enjoying ourselves, even though they can enjoy themselves in a different way? We have to mind that. So that dread, feeling fear, being reluctant, uh, having experiences, how does dread show up in your life? I'm sharing my experience, but take a moment to sit and think about what dread means to you. It could be dread of a new experience. I have a lot of clients that come into my doors and they want to find love, or they want to find friends, community, create connection, or they want to do something different with their lives, their career options. But this dread of doing something new, something uncomfortable, something unfamiliar keeps them from doing that. In the realm of dating, this one I know very, very well because to me, I have for many years before I met my ex-spouse, I was very excited to get out there and I had fun dating. Dating was not a chore to me, and it has never been a chore. It's been just something really fun, really exciting, really just getting to know different people. If I vibe with you, I vibe. If I don't vibe, then we're just, it was a great experience. Thank you so much. In this time in my life, I've kind of dreaded that getting to know another person. And so there's been a fear and a reluctance to put myself out there. But I also understand that I need time to heal. I need time to process. I need time to really enjoy myself again and get to know who I am fundamentally, what rewire my goals and my future aspirations and what I want for my business. Because ultimately, what I'm doing is going to help everyone else that's out there listening and watching this. And that is so fundamentally important for me because I'm passionate about helping you. I find it deeply rewarding to share a message that will resonate with you, that will help you in your future. And thinking about dread, when I first when this whole situation first happened, I was so dreadful. I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But as the weeks have progressed, as time has passed by, I've flirted more and I've had a little bit more fun with it. I remember what it's like to look out into the world and see something new and exciting and the possibilities. Because I don't fundamentally think that all marriage has to end in divorce, but this person kind of did. So I was conforming to someone else's belief system in that way. So now that I've detached myself, I am starting to see how there was a lot of dread in different aspects of that relationship because of these different incompatibilities. So I went from dreading this experience of finding someone new to feeling excited, feeling fun, feeling flirty, noticing people when they look at me and guys when they're hitting on me very subtly. And that has been really fun. And when I think of the word dread, I remember the past of feeling fearful. And right now I'm looking at the hope of feeling good and excited. And there's almost like a sense of rejuvenation and a rebirth within me. When you think of dread, there's so many different types of experiences, but how is this dread holding you back from living and experiencing different things, reluctant to do something? I'm going to be honest, I've been going to the gym every day except for like a couple of days for the past 3 weeks. And it's so nice. But there's a reluctance sometimes to go. But I pick up my bootstraps and I say, this is my new me. I'm not going to change who this person is. I remember that there was something that switched in me a few years back when my ex-spouse said, oh, you're a gym rat. And I noticed that I had brought in a negative connotation for me wanting to go to the gym daily because of that comment. So I started dreading going to the gym because I felt, oh my gosh, I'm a gym rat. Is that bad? Is that something that's not good? Why would they call me that? I didn't know it was a bad thing, but it wasn't. It was that person's perspective being projected onto me, and I absorbed it and then began to dread going to the gym. Meeting people. When we meet people, there's a lot of fear around that. You can feel a lot of dread meeting new people because what if they don't like me? What if they're the one? What if they're not the one? What if they are the people that take advantage of me? What if they're negative? What if they're positive? What if? And when we stop putting this end goal of who this person is to us and just say, I met some new people, it can really alleviate that feeling of dread within you. And I know this because I've been victim to that, especially before I went to the Matthew Hussey retreat. I used to be fearful of meeting new people. I used to overthink it. I used to really, really get in my own head. And the more that I've learned how to experience and just be very present in the moment. Some people like me, some people don't. But that's okay, because the right people for me are here with me. Regardless of if they leave or not, at that moment in time, the right people are there for me, either to teach me a lesson, to support me, love me, and cherish me, or that lesson might be a hard lesson to learn. Terror or apprehension, it really does come back to just feeling fearful. And there is a reverent fear where it might be a little bit good for you to be fearful of that. Maybe it is you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation. People go and they put their numbers on dating apps. That's probably something you should probably be fearful of. I'm just saying, being cautious about where you're placing your trust is important. You can give someone your number, but are you going to invite them over to your house on your first date? Probably not. Hopefully not. That is reverent fear. So sit with that dread. Ask yourself a few specific questions. I will put some questions below in the descriptions so that you can ask yourself what kinds of dread you're feeling for yourself. And you can do a little bit of self-awareness, self-healing through that dread, so you can understand where this dread is coming from, how it's showing up in your life, and what it's holding you back from. Next emotion, feeling empty. Emptiness is a feeling exhausted, drained, hollow, a great lack, a void, or absence. Feeling exhausted can make you feel empty inside. Exhaustion, what I've noticed in my life is exhaustion is lack of self-care. Plain and simple, it is not really taking care of yourself. So if you're scrolling on your phone or on your couch for hours and hours and hours a day and not taking time to make genuine, real connection with not just the people around you, but friends, community. I see this all the time. There's like this trap of, I'm just going to sit on this couch and watch TV. That can cause not just a feeling of emptiness, but a void inside of us, because we are creatures of communication. We are creatures of community. Back in the day, I like to think back to the native days. It was all about a sense of community. Each person had a role and they fulfilled their role, which made the community a well-oiled machine. Everyone had something to do and it flowed really beautiful and it was so amazing. I remember because I feel like I was there. Anyway, so feeling exhausted, if you feel tired constantly, drained, hollow, feeling like there's a great lack within you, then you might not be connecting to either yourself by mindlessly scrolling, watching TV back to back to back, feeling like somehow another person is responsible for filling that void, that emptiness, then you're already giving yourself a disservice. You're already setting yourself up for failure, because feeling whole is within us. During this last few weeks, I have noticed how much more I sit with myself. And I've always done that. I actually turn off the radio when I'm driving a lot, because I like to just sit in my thoughts and really get to reevaluate what I want and what I'm doing and how I've been impacting the people around me, or even thinking about the YouTube videos, what messages I want to share. And that is one of the biggest things that I've seen more and more, is a feeling of emptiness, because we are not just not connecting to ourselves on a deeper fundamental level, not listening to a podcast, not listening to a YouTube channel, not listening to music, but actually sitting in our thoughts and asking ourselves deep diving questions. And I'll put some questions in the description below about emptiness. But one of the things that I noticed, so I always go back to the Matthew Hussey retreat, because it really did propel my life in not just my love life, but who I am as a person. And almost every year since I've gone there, I go and I do like a self-identity process. And I ask myself what I've learned in the year, what I want for the next year, what are some of those really amazing things that have happened. And when I was there, I remember him asking us to track how much time we spent on an activity. And I went home after this amazing week retreat, and I started tracking my time. And I was blown away by how much time I was spending on XYZ. One of the things that I used to do is I used to smoke on a regular basis. I used to smoke weed on a regular basis. And when I sat down and tracked the amount of time that I spent in my room, away from my kids, away from everything, so that I can set myself aside to de-stress, to relax, to detach for a minute, there was about 2 to 4 hours a day that I was wasting. And those 2 to 4 hours could have been cooking, cleaning, reading a book. They could have been making new friends, connecting with other people, taking my kids to the park, hanging out, just sitting, playing board games. And when I found that out, I hadn't quit at that point yet. I actually did quit, but I had gone back again. I quit for a period of time, and I saw my time open up. Another thing that I had noticed was that I was spending 5 hours on average scrolling on Facebook and watching TV mindlessly. Before I realized that that was just, oh, I'm just detaching again with the weed too. Marijuana was my other form of detachment. So I was detaching with TV, YouTube, and scrolling, all of the things. And I wasn't really sitting and connecting with myself or others around me. And that was another huge time suck. Between the two, there was about 7 hours of my life that was dedicated to making me feel empty inside. Because what fills us up is connection and growth within ourselves. Really, truly getting to know who we are when we feel sad, when we feel lonely, when we feel frustrated or drained or absent. What is making us feel absent? Oh, well, I just spent 2 hours laying on the couch after work and not really engaging with the world around me. Did that make me feel connected, or did that make me feel absent? We can have that false sense of connection because we're connecting to something visually, but are we connecting emotionally? Are we connecting to a deeper level of ourselves, which says, wow, that was a wonderful conversation. Right now in this time, I am finding more and more how sitting at the dinner table and really truly having an open conversation, how are you feeling today? What is one of the most amazing experiences that you had, and what was the challenging one? When my youngest daughter says, because I ask her how she's feeling, and for the last 2 weeks, I'm confused. And I think, okay, can you elaborate with me what confused means? I don't know. Okay. Well, are you confused about how I feel about you? No. Are you confused about school? No. Are you confused about what happened in the last few weeks? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about that confusion? Is there any other feelings that you're feeling at that moment in time? And then we go into the sadnesses, the griefs, the losses, and all of those different deeper meanings. And then when we go and we dive into that, I feel fulfilled because I know that not only am I connecting to my daughter at that moment, but I'm also connecting deeper to myself because I can resonate with what she feels. I can understand what she feels. And then when she's grumpy or upset or crying, I also feel a sense of understanding and compassion towards her. I understand why she's upset, why she's frustrated, why she's throwing a tantrum right now. And that takes it away from it's my fault to this is another human being having another human experience, and it has nothing to do with who I am. It has to do with the situation we're in. So feeling drained. One of the things that I really notice right now is over the last several weeks, I've been feeling much more energetic, much more fulfilled. There has been times where I feel a little lonely or sad, but empty. I'm not feeling as much because I'm able to have actual genuine connection with the people that I am surrounding myself with. Whereas before, I feel that there wasn't as genuine connection because it was more, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm tending to this, I'm tending to that, I'm tending to this. And then there was like this absence. And looking at the whole situation, it's like, oh, I was pouring, and then I was pouring into something empty. And it was draining. And now that I'm pouring into me more, because I did pour into myself, I dedicated myself to singing or dancing or any of those things. But when you are around and surrounded by people that are empty inside, that no matter what you do, they may not feel included, or no matter what you do, it's never good enough, then there's a sense of where's the connection? What will make you happy? When we feel empty, we're not actually happy within ourselves. We're looking externally for that happiness, and that can be scrolling, doing mindless activities, not really engaging with the world around us and the people in the world around us. So really understand how emptiness shows up for you in your life. Do you feel empty when you are, say, looking at something on the TV that you don't really care for? That's the easiest, most ready empty that I have seen, because I see it plaguing so many different people, mindlessly playing video games for hours and hours and hours. That can make someone feel empty because, yeah, you're achieving a goal in a screen, in a digital land, but do you feel accomplished in this world right now, in the present moment? I know that working on my business, creating content and doing all those things, even though there's times where I feel there's a struggle and it can be frustrating to continuously do this, I feel fulfilled and whole because I know that I've done something fundamentally good And there is no emptiness in that. There's only fulfillment. There's only love and joy and grace. Even when I've been upset and I want to throw a computer across the kitchen or whatever it is, after I breathe through it, and when I step back and look at the end product, I'm astounded by the fact that my tenacity has created that. There's no emptiness in that, only fulfillment. And if we allow ourselves to constantly focus on things that do not bring us fulfillment and only bring us emptiness, then we lose ourselves. We are drained, we are exhausted, we feel hollow, and we feel a great lack in our lives. So understand that when you are finding different things in your life that bring you fulfillment, that a lot of it is not things that you're currently doing right now. The last emotion is frustration. During this eclipse season, it is a time of transformation. It is huge shifts, losses, especially frustrating because so often they are beyond our control. That is the one that resonated the most with me, not just because of my current situation, but because transformation means that a lot of people are losing stuff right now. A lot of people are transitioning. Their comfort zones have been rocked or shaken. There's people that have gotten quite comfortable with the situation that they're in, and now everything's changing. And some of it's reevaluating who they are as a person. Some of it is, oh, whoa, I didn't recognize that. And I didn't know that this situation was causing this to happen and this to happen. Some of it is just life circumstances that there's no way we can predict or control. It can be death. It can be whatever it is that frustration is causing through loss, because there's a lot of different ways that frustration can be expressed. Today, I wanted to focus on losses. Frustration through loss. How is this loss benefiting from me later? How is this painful experience right now going to help me in the future? What exactly does this loss mean to me in the moment, and why am I so frustrated with this loss? Because a lot of people, if you're like me, you look at a situation, and let's say when I was in a relationship with my kid's dad, I remember going in and out, back and forth. And at a certain point, I just switched and I was done. Because at that point, it was like, oh, this person is never going to change. And they have their same set of standards and patterns. And that was his journey. So when I decided, okay, I'm done, I'm switching off, there's no more, I felt a sense of loss, because that thought of, oh, it's my family, this person I have my children with, I've envisioned a future with, I felt like I was mourning that loss, and I was frustrated because I tried so many different ways to make it work. Fast forward till now, I'm 36 years old, and I'm experiencing another frustration, another loss. But this time, it really doesn't hurt as much, because I'm looking at how is this loss opening another door to other possibilities? How is this loss making my life easier or better? It might be bringing me some other challenges, but are those challenges so detrimental that I can't face them? Is there frustration? Yes, 100%. There's certain frustrations with loss. Picking up my kids every day, that's been a little bit frustrating because I have clients and then I have to go and run this way and that way, and I've got to make sure that everyone's there on time. But that loss is nothing compared to the emptiness that I was feeling inside from that lack of connection from someone that was giving bare minimum in the relationship. And that is a loss that I can deal with and handle. So when we detach what the meaning of that loss means, and we step back and we think, I'm frustrated because this changed. How is this change beneficial? How is this change helping me? I've seen a plethora of blessings since this change happened. This frustration was initial. I was frustrated, and then I started looking at how is this beyond my control? I'm not going to chase. There's no way. I know my value. I am not empty inside. I'm very fulfilled. I'm very passionate. I am completely and totally aware of who I am and in tune with who I am and what I do and how I bring value to this world. I'm not dreading the future because I know that no matter how many heartbreaks, no matter how many bad experiences I've had or bad experiences that I've had, they've always led to wonderful things. So is this frustration from loss something that I have to live in and sit in and be in and just be frustrated every day? No. I feel my frustration when I feel it. I say, okay, I'm really frustrated right now because this is something that's changed. This is something that's new. This is something that's out of my control. How can I handle this frustration? I sit in it and I identify what it is that I'm frustrated about. And then I am able to come at it with solution instead of problem. I'm frustrated because I have to pick up my kids from school or from their program every day. Okay, how can I see this as a solution? Okay, now I can actually call on my support system more. I actually have a support system. I have many people that are willing to support me because I've created a plethora of connections. There are people that are stepping up that I didn't even know would. So is this frustration something that I have to sit in and live in? Or is it a frustration that I can actually say, okay, it's frustrating in the moment because I need to find the solution to help me move forward. As that frustration subsides, more and more solutions come. I was frustrated in the financial state because it was like, oh my gosh, I depended on this other person. And when I sat back and I said, okay, universe, God, bring it on. Bring it on. I'm not going to be frustrated. I'm going to trust. I trust in your process. In this time, I've had more clients than I've expected, to be honest. I was frustrated. I felt a loss in this. And now that I've gotten past that frustration, I'm seeing more and more how I am being supported by the universe because there's not that resistance. There's actually more fulfillment to be had because there's not that sense of emptiness. There's not that sense of dread. There's a sense of light and fun. I got a client off the street talking to them and telling them about what I was going through, but they were like, you're handling this so well. Yeah, I am, because I'm emotionally aware about how I'm feeling. I'm not sitting in the feeling every single moment of the day. I let it hurt when it needs to, when it's coming up. I say, okay, this is hard right now. Let me feel it. Oh, frustration. I know that I'm feeling frustrated. Why am I feeling frustrated? Okay, XYZ. What can I do to alleviate this frustration? I can look at solutions. I can understand that this might not be something I understand right now, but I can see where it's taking me, where it's evolving me, where it's growing. And as I think about that, my heart starts to lighten. And all of those feelings of frustration start to get alleviated because I know in my heart that there's hope, that there is wisdom to be had and to be learned through all of this. And I hope that every single person today starts to find that hope, that light within themselves, that naming our emotions, recognizing them, it's like saying hello to a friend. Maybe it's a friend that you haven't seen for a long time and you're kind of awkward and you don't know how you guys are going to recognize each other. But through that process, you start to see, oh, I know you. I remember your quirks. I remember those little frustrating things, but I also remember the great things about you because our emotions help us navigate what we're doing in the world. If we're constantly feeling empty inside, maybe it's something to do with your habits. If we're constantly feeling dreadful about things, situations, maybe again, it's a habit that we're having that we just need to tweak a little bit. Change the perspective, change the thought process. Understand that why am I feeling dreadful right now? What is the worst thing that can happen from saying hello to a person on the street? Oftentimes, our narrative inside our brains is actually much more detrimental than the actual reality. I appreciate you all for listening. I appreciate you for taking this journey with me through emotions, through self-realization. I share my stories because I know that someone out there can resonate with them, or you can apply it to your life in the best way that it'll help you. I love you all. Have a fun, wild ride on this eclipse season because I know the transitions can feel really difficult, but they're also beautiful. Ride the wave, friends. Ride the wave. Oh yeah, and like, share, and subscribe if you know anybody that would benefit from this video. Thank you.